Call the order. How do we do that? But we do need to take a roll call, yes? After the work session, no. Okay, then here we go. The crime prevention to environmental design. I like that. Yes, we do. Go ahead.
Miss Andrea, when you're ready.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm here with the Community Language Cooperative to help us practice language justice in this space where we can speak and
Yeah,
hear
Andrea, we
languages
can't
of our
hear
heart.
you. Hang on.
Can you hear me now? Hello, hello, testing, testing. Can you hear me now? Hello. Hello, hello. Hello. I think it might be they need to turn the volume up in the chamber. Can somebody hear me? Other than Kristen? Thank you, Kristen. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Ta-da! Woo! All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the patience. I'm here with the Community Language Cooperative to help us practice language justice in a space where we can hear and speak in the language of our heart or the language that we speak at home with our families and where no one language is more dominant than any other. We're going to provide the interpretation simultaneously in English and Spanish. And when we turn it on, you're going to see a world map on the bottom of your screen where you're going to be able to select English or Spanish. If you're fully bilingual, you do not need to select the language. And when you are speaking, please remember to use a conversational pace. Do not speak over one another so that I don't have to choose who to interpret for. And if you're going to refer to something on the packet, please let me know where you are so that I can follow. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Andrea, estoy aquí con la Community Language Cooperative para ayudarnos a practicar la justicia del lenguaje, donde podamos hablar y escuchar en el idioma de nuestro corazón o en el idioma en el que hablamos con nuestras familias en nuestras casas. Vamos a utilizar la interpretación simultánea en inglés y en español, y cuando aprendamos de interpretación vas a ver el mapamundo en la parte inferior de tu pantalla, donde vas a poder seleccionar tu idioma. Si eres totalmente bilingüe, no tienes que escoger ningún idioma. Si tienes alguna pregunta, puedes hacerla en el chat. Thank you. We can begin interpretation now.
Okay, then we'll call it to order. Items to be discussed is the crime prevention through environmental design presentation. Sounds fun.
All right, well, thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Very excited to be presenting tonight. A little bit of background on this. So yes, this is crime prevention through environmental design. And what we're going to be presenting tonight is kind of a follow-up to a week-long training that Ari, Monica, and I completed last November. And shout out to the chief. Thank you for suggesting this. We think it was a really helpful training to go to. Crime prevention through environmental design is basically guidelines and principles for how people use space effectively and how you can influence human behavior with how you design space. So there's a lot of crossovers with urban planning and what we do in our department. So Monica and Ari did a great job putting today's presentation together and the forthcoming report that we'll have shortly. The photos that you'll see today, this is from a site visit that we did to Sheridan City Hall back in December of last year. And the report and the presentation tonight, we prepared using the principles of the CEPTED site reporting that we learned in the class. We wanted to use Sheridan City Hall tonight because it's a building that everybody in this room is familiar with, and also because we can make changes to it. So if there's anything in here that kind of jumps out at you as a change that we should be considering, it's something we can actually do because we own the property. And we know that Randy and his team are working on a lot of these improvements already. So we just wanted to kind of add our voice of support to those improvements and potentially even suggest some that we haven't thought of before. And just kind of a final closing note before I turn it over to Ari and Monica here. Littleton actually adopted CEPTED principles with their recent redo of their zoning code with their unified land use code. So I think it's definitely something that we're going to be seeing adopted into zoning codes a lot more in the future. So with that, I will turn it over to Ari and Monica.
Hello. Okay. Evening, everyone. Thanks for having us. So I am just we're going to get through the paperwork part and then we'll get to the fun part. So there's the team that did your site evaluation in December, so that we're all familiar, except maybe people haven't met Monica, but she's there. She's great. And so, yeah, just a few things to go over before we get started. The disclaimer, really the thing you need to take away from this is that the survey is not intended to assist in the overall improvement of security, or it is intended to assist in the overall improvement of security on the site. It is not intended to imply that the existing security measures or proposed security measures are absolute or perfect.
And then this is just our confidentiality that we have, just detailing that this is a confidential report. Because of the items that it details, it does detail some sensitive areas, some points of access. So now that this is in this session, it does become public record, but many of these things are being addressed. So that's why we felt comfortable sharing.
Right, so we'll just briefly go over the principles of crime prevention through environmental design, starting with natural surveillance. So criminals are less likely to attempt a crime if they're at risk of being seen. Likewise, we are likely to feel safer when we can see and be seen. Any architectural design that enhances the chance of being seen is a form of natural surveillance.
And natural access control, part of that is creating a controlled space, or in a controlled space, we're focusing on entry and exit points into buildings, parks, parking lots, and neighborhoods.
And then we have territorial reinforcement, which is the use of physical attributes to create defined lines between owned and public space, such as fences, signage, landscaping, and lighting.
And the next one here is maintenance. A well-maintained property creates a sense of territory, letting people know that the owners of that space are willing to defend it against crime.
And finally, social management. Activities support, fosters community interaction. Criminal acts can be discouraged in public spaces when we encourage activities in those spaces by residents, visitors, and other legitimate users. So just taking all of these things into consideration as we go through this presentation moving forward.
And this is a 3D approach, designation, definition, and design all tie into those principles because all human space has a designated purpose. All human space has social, cultural, legal, and physical definitions that prescribe the desired and acceptable behaviors in that space. And then all human space is designed to support and control the desired behaviors. So we want to keep that in mind as we're going through the different spaces at City Hall.
Great, so briefly just, this is an aerial of City Hall and surrounding context. So we'll just go through each point real quick. So we're all very familiar with the municipal building, which we're in at the moment. We have SOAR Academy to the south, residential to the north and west, a vacant lot to the northeast, Federal Boulevard, heavy commercial corridor. The high school is to the northwest. There's the parking lot. And then we have some commercial across Federal to the east. So just putting that context around the site that we're about to go through.
And here we have our crime statistics for Sheridan. We did 2 years. Our police department was kind enough to get this information to us. But what we really want to highlight is the total offenses differences between 2020 and 2021. It went up from 945 total offenses to 1,085. And really the biggest one that we can see here is shoplifting. That's probably one of the biggest offenses that we have here in the city. That made 27% of our total offenses in 2020 and 15% in 2021. And then the second one that we have is motor vehicle theft. And we all know that that's a really big issue here with the catalytic converters that are being stolen.
We have demographics of the city of Sheridan. So I won't go through each thing, but the two big takeaways here is that the city of Sheridan's median income compared to the state of Colorado, our benchmark, is 39% less than the state as an average. And then the second thing really to take away per the 2010 census, because they did not have the data for Colorado when I was doing this, Sheridan is 52 times more dense than the state as a whole. There's a lot of open space in Colorado, as we all know. So that definitely attributes to that. We have our own open space here in Sheridan, but just some key takeaways there.
And then here we have our site analysis of our municipal building. This is just really detailing the different things that we have surrounding City Hall. It has its emergency services. This building was purposefully created as a municipal building. It does it well. And we just wanted to highlight that in this slide.
Great, so now we're gonna go through each side of the building and we'll start with some positives, things that are working well, and then we'll go to some opportunities. So for access control, we have a clearly identified entrance. There's signage, Sheridan Municipal Center, hours of operation, at the time, mask required. So you definitely know that that's the entrance. And then we kind of go over here to the Sally Port and to the fire station, and we see there's not a lot of windows and stuff. So we have great camera coverage to still be surveilling the area with our mechanical surveillance. And finally, as you drive into the parking lot of the municipal building, it's pretty obvious that you're kind of transitioning from a public road to a semi-public parking lot to a private, and I use quotations because we're obviously a public entity, so it is still public space, but somebody has taken ownership at this point, and so we're really, it's very obvious to somebody driving in that they're entering something that's owned now.
So some opportunities that we have on this side. is we could have a more celebrated entryway. When you come into the roundabout here at the front, one of the main complaints that I get from people is, where is your front entrance? People think that it's from the other side over here. They don't know where the parking lot is. They don't know exactly how to get here. So one thing that we can do is have a sign here, either here on the side or the top, just saying City of Sheridan. People know it's our entrance. They know where they are. And just something to really show ownership of, or pride of ownership. The next thing we have is planters here, some decorative planters that also serve as bollards, just really deterring anyone from driving a car through the building. We'd hope that never happened, but it does. And they also serve a decorative purpose, or just a way to, have our employees come together and have something to do, like put plants in those planters. After that, we have our one-way sign here that does need a little bit of help. We really want to show that we care about our site and make that look a little better, improve it. And then one really easy thing that we can do is these blinds right here are usually closed, but it's really easy to open them and create perceived surveillance. Someone from the outside thinks they're being watched, even if no one is in the room, and really just deters any type of crime. The last one is the height of these bushes right here. We have Ari standing behind there. Ari's a pretty tall guy, but anyone shorter than him gets completely lost as soon as they go down those steps. So it's really an area of concealment that we want to eliminate and just bring down a little shorter. And then here continued, we have some more areas of concealment. Ari again was our model during when we took these pictures, but these are located in our parking lot here. And when you go out into the parking lot and it's kind of dark, it's easy for someone to hide there if they really wanted to. This is in our Sally port. Someone easily could go behind this fence and just be waiting to come around the corner. And then this right here is our trash enclosure that we have, and Ari can hide behind there on either side. And when we were out doing our site assessment, we actually had Tina, our victim advocate, come up to us and tell us that she had had an incident here where she was walking out. She was about to walk out into the parking lot, and she almost got ran over by the mailman because he could not see her and she could not see him. So we really just want to bring that down a little bit, take away that area of concealment. And please enjoy this video on the importance of bollards.
This was in Las Vegas. We think it was like a courthouse, or it was some kind of municipal building. And so this is the security camera footage of the man driving through the front door and then exiting through the rear entrance or rear door. So all the way through the building.
Yes, and he really did make it all the way around the building. And this is very extreme. We would hope that this would never happen. No one ever thinks this is going to happen, but bollards are, or the decorative planters are something that is pretty inexpensive. It looks pretty and could deter this kind of activity.
We're assuming it got caught, right?
They don't tell you in the video,
Don't.
but yeah, I would assume so. I mean, cars can only take so much damage.
Gee.
Great, so now we'll move on to the north. There wasn't a whole lot over here, so we combine the positives and the opportunities. So we have a great adherence to the 2 foot, 6 foot rule, which is kind of like a CEPTED guideline or whatever. So that's like when your vegetation is not going to be higher than 2 feet off the ground. And then if it's like a tree, like the limbs are not going to hang lower than 6 feet. So it's really opening up, we're talking about crime prevention here. So if there's criminal activity, being able to identify, what's going on and who that person is, and really just, again, eliminating areas of concealment. We can see excellent natural surveillance on the second floor. Most of the general government employees, their blinds are open, they're getting that sunshine. So just really wanted to highlight that we do have that going for us right now. A couple of opportunities. If you're heading eastbound on Oxford, you'll see that the traffic control panel is kind of blocking the municipal sign. So maybe if we were to replace that sign, just choosing a slightly different location so that our guests would be able to see it and they would then know that where they were. And then just some lighting opportunities, just seeing wall packs on during the day, which is being addressed as we speak.
Then we have the east elevation, lots of positives on this side. We're really doing a great job. Natural access control is definitely being addressed. It's done well. People know how to get to the main building. You're really led there by the sidewalk. Natural surveillance is also being done very well since there's good visibility from the street, from the building. There's commercial around the area, also residential. Everyone's really keeping an eye on this site. Territorial reinforcement, we can see great landscaping and lighting along the lawn. It's very attractive. Same thing with our landscaping. Generally, we are adhering to that 2-foot, 6-foot rule. We can see pretty clearly all across the lawn. And then for social management, we have a really great positive activity generator here with this little soccer rink or whatever they're using it for, but often in the afternoons it's occupied. People are keeping an eye out on our front lawn.
And just a few opportunities here. With this entrance, it's very hard to use this kind of signage and be able to see that from the corner of Federal and Oxford. So maybe considering a larger lawn sign in the future. We would have to work with the school district as that would be their property, but that's not a problem. And then just some consistency with our 2-foot, 6-foot rule. It's all a whopping 2 offenders, not a big deal there. But just being consistent and not allowing any areas of concealment where poor behavior could be taking place. And then in the next slide, we'll kind of see, but right here, the southeast side, we're starting to see a lack of natural surveillance as there's not a lot of offices over there. So just trying to create something that, keeps eyes on what's going on outside.
So our southeast side is actually what we look out to from this courtroom, just this corner over here. Vicky's office is located right here. This is police records. She only has a partial view from the front of the lawn though. So really there is just a lack of surveillance on this side. There's really an opportunity for a positive activity generator. So when we were out here, we were trying to think what's something positive that could happen in this area. And we really thought employees, people visiting the site could really benefit from a patio area over here on top or towards the bottom, somewhere to hang out, have a garden, an outdoor meeting area. And we could also work with our own wellness committee for employee morale or just different funding opportunities. So there's a lot that can be done in this front area, just create that natural surveillance and just discourage any kind of negative activity. And then one of the last things we did notice is that our clock out front does need repairing. It does not work, but it is something that's being looked into, but really just conveys a sense of pride in the city if it was working.
Then the south side, you can see this path here, this goat path. So clearly people are walking in this area. We may or may not want to encourage that behavior. We do have really good territorial reinforcement with the good signage, not a public entrance. So really just deciding if we want people to be coming on this path, maybe we put a permanent path there so that they don't look out of place or damage the lawn. And if we want to discourage that behavior, perhaps some vegetation, just kind of blocking that path so that people don't go over there as much. So it could go either way.
We have some interior opportunities here, starting with our room downstairs that many of you have been in. Our blinds are usually closed down there. Something really easy we can do is just open them, create natural surveillance on the front lawn or a perceived surveillance, even if there's no one in the room, someone thinks they could be being looked at. The next thing is in the stairwell, we did see that there was some obstructions. There is a sign down there saying no storage. So just cleaning that up. That is an access point if we wanted to leave the building. And then this picture down here is of police records. We have a very small sign saying that that's police records. When people come into the building, they're often asking like, how do I get to the police department? So a good way of addressing that is just some larger signage. And then last here we have, this is the women's bathroom. I think many of you know we don't have very good lighting in the bathroom. So just updating that would make everyone feel better, anyone that's using it.
And on the topic of lighting, this is 2 sessions in a row that I'll be talking to you about lighting. So this is interesting. The uniformity in the parking lot, as we've all kind of experienced as we leave, our sessions in the evening. We have some, and I have to give credit to Apple because these photos are just great. They make it look even brighter than it really is. But you walk out, it's nice and well lit. And then you kind of go through these dark patches. And so your eyes take approximately 20 minutes to adjust from light to dark fully. So rendering colors appropriately, just, being able to fully see, that can take up to 20 minutes. So, when you're going through a light spot and then a dark spot, that can really kind of mess with your eyes. So again, back to crime prevention, LED light emitting diodes, those have the most natural color rendering index. So what is most natural compared to the sun? So when you're looking at something in the sun, how are your eyes perceiving those colors? We can see we have LED, I believe that's metal haloid, and then we have high pressure sodium over here. So we have a mixture of different colors. And so this is a great example. If I was trying to find out, identify somebody, was that guy wearing a brown hoodie or a yellow hoodie? Maybe it was a green hoodie, who knows? Because the light is really affecting your perception of the colors. So just having a little more uniformity throughout the parking lot as to what is being lit could really deter bad behavior, or if not, at least help to identify people, committing offenses.
Yeah, and it's not too far-fetched to think that there could be some crime in this parking lot. I took this picture as I was leaving for court or after court one night here in our parking lot. So we do have defendants walking through our parking lot at that time, and it does get kind of dark over here by our cars. You can't really see. So just fixing that lighting would really make everyone feel safer.
Great, so we just have a few recommendations we kind of spelled out for you folks here. Starting with lighting. So really just overall, just switching everything to LED. Perhaps like a priority would be the parking lot, I think is, for security purposes would be the most important. And then probably the wall packs next. And then, but overall, it's like the wall packs and the bathrooms are both pretty important because, going to the bathroom in the dark doesn't sound fun.
The next thing we have is updating building and site signage. Adding a ground sign and address facing Federal Boulevard would definitely help a lot of people trying to access the site. Consider adding City Hall or other identifying signage above the front entrance, just really creating that celebrated entryway. And then relocating that Oxford Hazel ground sign that's currently obstructed just to a better location.
And then we could just improve some target hardening around the area. So really a gate, which I believe Randy is working on for the Sally Port, just really securing that, just making it very clear that it's like, we don't really want anyone there unless you're supposed to be there. And then the decorative security bollard planters, we want to have a soft appearance, but still know that we're, protecting this building and providing security.
The last one is we want to increase natural surveillance and territorial reinforcement around the site. We want to consider a policy to keep the blinds open, just really easy one. It's not going to cost us anything. Create that perceived surveillance. Another one that's pretty easy is just lowering the height of those bushes in the front entry, just making that a little shorter, eliminate areas of concealment. The next one is activating the east side with either picnic tables, a patio, somewhere outside council chambers, just really adding some positive activity generators there. And then the last one is consider lowering or removing those screening walls around the dumpster just to address those visibility issues, eliminate areas of concealment as well.
We're happy to take any questions or comments. We love compliments if you just want to do that.
That's a good presentation. You had a lot of good points in there.
something to keep in mind, the footprint of the city's property is small. I believe the parking lot is not ours. Although we've been giving money to other entities, why not give it to the schools? So we could probably give them some money to put in new lights and do that. Also, the property that way stops very, very close. And I believe the dumpster enclosure belongs to the schools. Yeah, it's theirs, so. But no, it was a good presentation. I think there's a lot of good practical things as far as lighting goes and what needs to be done in here. Signage for years has been a problem. I'm going back, we could talk about signage forever here. It's been a problem. Surveillance cameras. One point in time, we had one, I believe it was on top of 7-Eleven, pointing this way in case the Russians came up Oxford. We were ready. Cold War, we don't have to do that anymore, but maybe now we better reactivate that.
Might have to. Do you remember how many feet it is for the easement for the, is it the 50 feet?
Probably close to that. I think the easement
For
out
the
front.
city building, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first, that walkway that goes this way.
Yeah,
That's it. That stops
that's about
just on the
Yep.
other
just
side
on
of
the
it.
other side.
Yeah.
So anything, that's kind of your easement for this, the building, right?
Mhm. Yeah, we have
So-
some pretty good maps of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the patio, my first thought was, wow, Jean's gonna like that idea for Sheridan Celebrates. That'd be great for, Sheridan Celebrates to have like a patio out there where you could put picnic tables for Sheridan Celebrates. It wouldn't make a dual function, right? So yeah, those are some really good ideas. And I do agree with the lighting. But I don't understand when they did the lighting for the rest. Didn't they do the lighting for the rest of the parking lot over there? They didn't do it here, or did they not do this parking lot for the lighting for the school district at all?
Like the parking lot,
Yeah,
adjacent
so
to
like over
us,
at the
or
early childhood center,
the back
didn't they
one?
update lighting over there?
That could have been before my time, but I'm not sure of that.
Yes, please. Thought so. Right? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, because I just didn't make, I thought they were gonna do the whole thing all at once. Okay, so confusing. Okay,
Yeah,
So-
once we
Very good.
had, as you recall, someone hit one of the light poles out here, and
Right.
knocked it over, and then we've had this report, and so we've been looking at the lighting out there for a little while now. And trying to figure out how do we do that? And so it's a substantial number that you'll see in the budget.
oh, I bet.
Yeah.
And for our signage, like on the wall out front, the rock brick wall or whatever, would it be lighted as well, so you'd be able to see it at night? So like the signs that have like the backlighting or
Like an
whatever?
up, like an uplight onto the wall or something like that is what you're saying, or?
Well, actually, speaking of school districts, over at Fort Logan, Northgate,
Mhm.
theirs is, it's, if I remember right, it's like raised off of the building and the lights are behind it. So the light kind of shines around the letters.
Mm.
So maybe that would be kind of cool.
Oh, I see. I see what
So
you're
the
saying.
lights
Yeah.
aren't shining up at
Mm.
it. They're behind the letters and
backlit-
so, yeah, backlit,
letters,
exactly, yeah.
Kind of raised and
Yeah.
backlit.
Maybe that
It's
would
a
be kind of cool.
possibility. Yeah.
That'd be kind of a cool idea.
The blinds, I think that's a great idea,
too.
but I think will it affect the HVAC at all? No? Okay. With the sun, maybe reason why they kept closed a lot of times is the sun coming in. We've had council meetings up here with these open because the sun's on that side. I don't know. I think that's a good idea. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we have watched a really cool thunderstorm one night.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are really good ideas.
What do you
Guys
guys
think
think
about-
about the discussions about the west elevation with some bigger signage over there? I mean, you were talking a little bit on the wall there,
Mhm.
maybe. Another thing that came up in staff discussions, because we have that long wall right
Yeah.
there. Maybe we could look at a mural
Oh, there's that too.
for part of it.
Mhm.
Maybe not the whole thing.
Right.
So that kind of came up. Just as a unique, that would make it kind of unique,
Mhm.
potentially. Engage the community.
That'd be
Okay.
kind of cool too. Yeah.
Signage would be a key thing all in itself.
Yeah.
Because we need it inside this building, and we need it everywhere. So
Right.
that might be a item to itself.
Other thoughts that you guys might have about anything that jumped up there? What do you think about the clock?
I think it's a great idea. And let's get a
Let's
DeLorean.
just keep it at 7 o'clock.
I say get a
It's right
DeLorean
twice a
and
day,
park
right?
it on the lawn.
What? I'm sorry, Sally.
Do the DeLorean on the lawn. With
Yeah,
a wire.
Yep.
I'm
the
serious.
wire down there.
Yes, that would be hilarious.
That clock has been needed to be fixed.
Did you guys look
Sure.
at some things with the clock? Did you look at options? Did you guys? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So when did it break down? Like right after? Really? That's, and there was no warranty, or whoever did it didn't come back out and fix the parts.
Wow.
That's so sad.
Would you replace it with the digital? Or do you leave? it
That's a
the
thought,
way-
you know?
A lot
It
of
could
people
be
just
like
use one
not like a
digital.
number, but even just look like a dial and be
Yeah.
digital. Light.
Yeah, and it'd be lit.
Mhm.
I like that.
Mhm,
Go with an LED screen,
Mhm.
you know,
mhm.
talking about LEDs, like the outside lights. I have to agree about the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that they make some LEDs that you can brighten and you can dim. So you can get them to the right brightness. And I don't know if you've gone that far as looking at lighting. It's the same thing with that sidewalk going out to Federal. I mean, the lights out there, you can't see the sidewalk at night. And then that's something that we need if we want people to really know this is the city of Sheridan. What better way but use the clock and the front of the building to let people, and there's your opportunity to put another LED type sign.
Might be time to have Jack come back and talk to us again, eh?
Right, dark skies.
Yep.
We'd be here forever with Jack.
Yes, but he knows all about lighting and
I
the
know.
perfect lighting for crime enforcement and what's best for the animals and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I would say that lighting technology, and I'm sure you heard about it if you were talking with Dark Skies, but it goes to where you want it to go now.
Yes.
It doesn't go left, it doesn't go right, it goes exactly where you want it and nowhere else. And it's just come a long way. So the
It
shielding
has,
is
yeah.
really, really great for that. So
Mhm.
good opportunity.
Maybe we can touch just real quick on some of the things that we do have some of the things that have been mentioned here that are in the pipeline and will be coming before you guys, primarily in the form of kind of budget requests and budget line items. So, Randy and the chief have been busy putting together kind of a list of improvements, some of them that have been mentioned here, some that haven't. But that I asked them to come up with that in conjunction with our ARPA money and the expending of that funding. So coming up with that, it looks like Randy gave me a list, and it looks like we're prioritizing projects that are safety related, building safety related. And so some of the ones at the top are the gate for the Sally Port. That just seems to be an attractive nuisance for people, right? And it's an officer safety issue. They don't need to be walking out in the Sally Port and being worried if somebody's hiding on the other side of the car. So that's up towards the very top of the list. I'm sorry, Dallas. Go ahead.
Would we increase that wall that's on the north side of it?
Would we, I don't know.
Increase the height? Okay, good, good. Yeah,
That would be fantastic.
because you
Oh,
can
okay.
hop over that wall. pretty
Right.
easy. Okay, good.
And
Thanks.
so we want something that would be effective and look decent, look okay, but address that. And then we've got some camera issues. We got some lighting things that are all up towards the top of that list that we can look at funding with ARPA money. But then, everything that we have on the list, we don't have enough ARPA money to do everything that we have
What
on the
about
list. So
maybe some GOCO money for
possibly,
like the shrubberies and the vegetation and that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, that could be, GOCO funding, and then you could have maybe students involved in, doing the work.
right. So we're going to look at a lot of different options, and they'll kind of be more back to our regular, normal types of things. But as long as council kind of we're getting nods saying, yes, we like the recommendations that are coming out of this, then we'll look at trying to roll these into budget proposals for your consideration over the next, several years. We're not going to be able to do it all overnight, but we can do it over some time, because we have other competing things. I'm going to talk about it in a minute, but we've got some Santa Fe PEL projects that are going to cost us a little bit of money over the next
Okay.
few years that are going to be competing with this. So anyway, so we'll be looking at, we wanted to bring this forward to have you guys have an opportunity to see this, make some comments. And then when you see it in the budget over the next, several budget cycles, you can go, oh, okay, that's where that came from.
I'd like to just mention a couple of things. First of all, they did an outstanding job. So Monica, Ari, and Andrew, thank you all for taking the suggestion of going to the SEPTED. It really makes a huge difference when we're talking about trying to prevent crime. A lot of times we think about certain areas, and you'll think of like usually the more affluent areas and their crime is lower. And a lot of times we think, well, it's the people that live there. A lot of it is just the appearance and the way that you make people think about the area. If you take care of your property, a lot of times people are less likely to target because they know that you care. And that's what everything they're talking about on the building. They may seem small, but they make a big difference in the appearance. This is a beautiful building. I think this is a beautiful building that just needs a little attention and that we could all be proud of. So I'm really happy with that. Even the little things like the clock, to me, it's important because that's a message to everybody is our clock. So I really like that idea as well. And it's the other little things that we have around here, like the corner there with the empty lot, that hopefully we get to do something with that, because it just, those type of things invite crime. So I'm always pushing for those little things in the background because it makes a big difference in just the overall appearance, what people think about. It makes them feel safer. And it also deters people from doing things that they otherwise might. It's kind of ties back into, in New York, the broken theories, the broken windows theory that Chief William Bratton implemented back there. And it was, there's a broken window, we need to get it replaced right away, because if we don't, someone will come around and say, well, that's one broken window, and they break another one, another one, another one. Next thing you know, you have a dilapidated property. Those are the things that I'm glad we're addressing as a city, because this really is a great place, and we're making some good steps. So from my end, I'm really glad we're doing that. So great job, guys.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Other thoughts did you guys have? And you can always let us know, if something pops, because I'm sure you'll be like me up till midnight thinking about this.
I've got one suggestion. I already brought it up. In the men's restroom, in the back stall, I know there's no light in there.
No.
Is there? And I imagine the women's room is the
Or-
same way. Is why they never put a can light or some type of light in that stall. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Me and Randy and Dallas, we've all been on long enough to know that's the way they built it, but once again, if you're going to do it, that's the opportunity time to do it.
Yeah.
And it's, once again, if it's lit up, you can see if somebody's in there, you know.
Great point. And a lot of the things like, say, for example, looking at our interior lighting and other things, there's opportunities out there for financing those kind of improvements. You can look at performance contracting for doing those kind of things, and you partner with Excel for any rebates that they have. So, you know, you get out there and you get these programs and take advantage of as many programs as you can. And sometimes it varies, you know, how much money the state has to put into them, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. And I know I've talked to Ari and to Andrew about this, and you know, what are some of those other opportunities out there? Maybe it's GoCo, maybe it's DOLA, maybe it's some or some Excel money, you know, that could be out there for looking at a lot of these things. So, but at least this helps again to start to have that framework behind it when we start to put dollars. And if anybody's going, why are you doing this? Well, here's why. You know.
There's, in the parking lot, there's the median in between the two.
Yes.
There's just old beat up shrubs in there. If we could just even just get rid of them.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of cleanup, right, that we do along with this. So good point. Yeah.
Just get rid of those shrubs.
Yeah. And it makes it easier for us to plow it and to do all those kind of things as well, to maintain it. Makes it easier as well. Did you guys have anything else that anyone on staff, any comments that you wanted to make?
The only other thing I'd like to mention is that the SEPTED, it's great for, you know, existing buildings, but the thought behind it when we talked to Devin and getting them to that was the new buildings that are coming around. And if we work with the builders while it's in the designing phase, we can make those implementations or ask for those implementations of what type of lighting or how they put maybe the dumpster or where they put, you know, their signage, things like that. So we're on the front end of it, and before they have to change it, we're giving suggestions, and they are suggestions, but most builders in you know, what I've experienced is that if you tell them and it makes sense, they'll usually do it because they're trying to work with us as partners to prevent the crime. So they are certified now as SEPTED, right? Would that what you'd be called as certified after the 40-hour work week? So it's important that we had them. We have a couple officers that are SEPTED certified as well. But that was the important end for them as well. And thanks to Devin for getting them out there to get this, because I think it will really pay off for our entire city, not just our building that we're talking here. There's a lot more to do with it. So,
And we're sending Andrew and Ari to a second phase of it later this year. And so we would send to Monica too, but unfortunately Monica is leaving us.
Oh, no.
This is her last city council meeting tonight.
What?
Yeah, but she's moving out of state. And
Well, okay.
Yes, I am moving to Texas, but it's been great with you guys, and really all the opportunities have been amazing.
yeah, she's been fantastic. She's really grown in the position. She's going to leave a huge hole in our front office there. So we're
Wow.
sad to see her go, but happy for the opportunities that she has, and thank her for all her service to the city.
Yes.
Very good.
I think that's it on that then.
Thumbs up from me, for sure.
Okay. All right. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Review of agenda items.
Right. Let me switch my screens here. Okay. So for your regular meeting tonight, whoops, we have 3 action items. The first one is a first reading on an ordinance for rezoning of the property located right over here across the street on the corner, 4095 South Federal. This would be a rezone to a PUD zone district. And this is going to be just first reading tonight. Okay, so the way this works, this is again a rezoning. This is a quasi judicial process. The first step is to have a first reading, which is basically you're giving the public notice that this will be coming before the council. And you, by approving it on first reading, what you then do is set it for a second reading and a public hearing. So we won't take any comments tonight. We won't have any discussion about it tonight. And all of that will need to be saved until the second hearing, second reading and public hearing on this, okay? I will remind council that this is a quasi judicial proceeding, so between now and then, we don't want to have any ex parte communications, which means any discussions about this rezoning outside of this room and outside of this group right here. If you get somebody that has questions about this, send them to me, send them to Ari or Andrew or the city attorney. Okay, tell them we are happy, we can discuss this until the cows come home, right? You guys cannot, right? Because you are going to be sitting as the impartial judges that will be hearing testimony on this proposal. The bad side, if you do happen to have a discussion about this, or you know, something along those lines happens, you need to let us know. You need to let me know, let the city attorney know, and then you'll have to look at possibly recusing yourself from the process. So the downside for you is that you take yourself out of the process if you can't stay within the bounds of the quasi judicial process. So you don't want to do that, right? Okay, and again, if there's any questions about it, if somebody asks you, just call me anytime and I'm happy to help out with any questions, refer anybody to us, anything along those lines. If you have questions about specifically about something, call me, let me know, and I'll make sure that you can get your answers, your questions answered. And do it in such a way so that if there's information coming from staff, it comes to all of you and it'll come in a public forum. Okay, so that we don't violate any kind of ex parte communications, right? There's no backroom discussions. There's no backroom politics on
And
this
it's
at all.
just the right across the street?
It's the vacant lot over here
Oh, that
on the
way.
corner,
So
on the
Oh.
corner of Oxford, the northwest corner of Oxford and Federal, that property right there.
Both properties? Because isn't
Nope,
it two properties?
Just one.
Okay.
Mhm.
Not that they're not gonna probably talk to me about it. They'll talk to the ones that live closest to there.
Potentially, right. And then,
Potentially,
yeah,
yeah,
and
there
there's
you go.
potentially, that's where the interest is, and
Yep.
it's natural for them to have questions, and you can say, hey, I'd love to be able to discuss this with you.
I
I
just
just
don't know.
can't, right? But I know that I'd be happy to
Oh,
put you
no,
in
no,
touch with
you
the
know
city
what, Bob?
manager, or have the city manager call you, or one of our planners call you and answer all the questions that you might have. That way you kind of, your duty is to get them to us and we can help answer the questions, and that covers you. And yeah, and tell them if they have something they want to say, come to the public hearing. That's the best thing, to make sure that they're
And that
heard.
will
They'll be
be-
able to zoom in. We will have Zoom testimony available, all those kind of things. If they want to send an email, they can send an email, and that can become part of the record as well. But tell them to send it to like me, send it to me, so, or one of the staff, so we can make sure it gets into the record.
And so for the public hearing would be the next meeting?
So it'll be the 28th.
Okay.
Is that correct? Yes. So it'll be, the 28th will be the second reading,
We'll send them to you.
Yep.
I don't know anything.
second reading, public hearing on the 28th.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the ordinance tonight that you have. Then we have two resolutions. The first one is approving a temporary access agreement between the city and Sheridan Sand District Number 1. This will allow the city's contractors to get into their system to make repairs. And then the other resolution is an appointment to Planning and Zoning Commissions, and Britt Fuchs, and many of you know Britt, and she's been a longtime participant with the city and supporter of the city, and she has agreed to serve on Planning and Zoning Commission. So we'll be making an appointment of Britt to that. Any questions about your agenda tonight? Yes.
Is the Planning and Zoning Commission position paid?
No. Just with occasional pizza. That's about it. Any other questions about your agenda this evening? Okay. We have about 4 minutes. And so if we want to take a quick break, see you back in 4 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
The only question I have the whole thing, right?
No, you do not. No,
Okay.
in like, so if we don't have any scripts to follow tonight
Okay.
because we don't have a public hearing or anything along those
I
lines.
might
right?
be able to get through this.
There you go. You could do it.
Yay. Dallas, do you want to do the prayer? Thank you. Because I don't want to hug all of it.
Once we
No.
start, so go ahead and say, I'll call this meeting to order.
I'm calling this meeting to order.
Go get it.
7:02 p.m. for March 14th, 2022. May I have a roll? No. We need to reintroduce our interpreter.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you. Good evening. My name is Gisela Escobedo, and I'm here with the Community Language Co-op. And I want to say thank you to the organizers of this event for providing language justice. Thank you for opening a space where people can participate and engage in the language of their heart, the language that they practice at home, and the language that they feel most comfortable in. To create this space, we're going to be using simultaneous interpretation. So when I finish saying this in Spanish, we will turn on interpretation and you will see a globe icon on the bottom of your bar that says interpretation. If you're not fully bilingual, I ask that you select your preferred language. If you're joining us today on a phone or a tablet, it has 3 dots that says more. So click on it and then you can select your preferred language. You can also mute original audio so you don't hear both languages at the same time. Hola, buenas tardes a todas las personas. Mi nombre es Gisela Escobedo y estoy aquí con la Community Language Co-op y quiero darle las gracias a los organizadores de este evento por proveer y practicar la justicia del lenguaje. Gracias por crear una oportunidad donde la gente puede participar e involucrarse en el idioma de su corazón, en el idioma que practican en casa o el idioma que se sienten más cómodos. Para crear este espacio vamos a estar usando la interpretación simultánea. Ya que termine de decir esto, van a aprender interpretación. Usted va a ver un icono de globo en la barra de abajo de su pantalla que dice interpretación. Si no eres completamente bilingüe, te pido que selecciones tu idioma preferido. Si estás hoy en un teléfono o una tableta, vienen 3 puntitos que dice más o more. Vas a seleccionar ahí y seleccionas tu idioma preferido. Te recomiendo silenciar el audio original para que no escuches ambos idiomas al mismo tiempo. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. You can go ahead and turn on interpretation.
Thank you, Giselle. Now can I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember Hall,
Present?
Councilmember Stang,
Here.
Daigle,
Here.
Mayor Butterfloor, Councilmember Whitaker,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you. We need to have a motion to excuse
Yes.
Mayor Bitterfloor, please.
I'll make a motion to excuse the mayor's absence.
Second.
Roll call?
Hall,
Yes.
Stang,
Yes.
Daigle,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Now, if you would rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, we ask your blessing upon this council tonight. Give us the wisdom to be able to handle the questions that are come at us tonight and make the decisions for the citizens of our city. We also pray for our staff, police, fire, that protect us and do their duties throughout the week. Be with them and bless them. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have the agenda approval.
So this evening, we have no changes to the agenda. Well, hold on, did we need to make sure that we make them more about the addition of the words temporary to the,
Yes, so the
Okay.
word temporary has been added to resolution number 7. There's been an electronic copy that was sent over earlier today, and then there is a hard copy on the dais for all of you with the highlighted word.
Thank you. So I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda. Do I do that? No?
you don't have to.
Okay. Next, we have public comment. Do you have any online?
Hello.
Yep, we can hear you, Britt.
Okay. Hi there. Okay, so I wanted to just comment on the presentation regarding safety and enhancements. And I appreciate that presentation, and I also would like to add my support in that. And also, in terms of some additional items, I think it's just the general updates. It's timely. And it also is good when, just in terms of general curb appeal, I noticed in the restrooms, I at one point noticed that the vents really needed some attention above all of the stalls. Of course, it depends on the budget, but paint could be updated. And then throughout the building, the carpet really looks like it needs some refresh. So again, it's all about a budget, and so external versus internal, but I just thought to add that as well. And then just in terms of the mural idea, I think that's something that could be a separate conversation perhaps, and maybe different areas around the building, around the trash area, or just citing other walls that are independent of the actual structure itself. So that's what I wanted to add on that level. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Any others? Thank you. Staff reports. City clerk.
Arlene wanted me to pass along, if you wanted to go to CML, she needs to have your selections as soon as possible and via email, please.
City attorney.
No comments.
City manager.
Thank you. I do have a few things. First off, I want to draw your attention. I gave you each a handout here, the Tri-Cities Homeless Action Plan status update. So this is the monthly updates that we'll be doing to the Homelessness Policy Committee, and want to share them with you to make sure we're keeping council up to speed on this as well. What the easiest way, since I don't want to go through all of this with you, but you'll notice on there that there are some items highlighted in yellow. Those are the items that have changed since last month's update. So the first one on there is to develop a system of tracking and reporting on plan implementation. This is basically developing the metrics that we want to track through our programs, determining what those are going to be. So what do we want to track? What do we want to measure? And how will we do that? So there is a subcommittee of the committee that's working on that as we speak. Creating a Tri-Cities webpage that has moved to in progress. And we have some comm departments that are working on that at the city level. Designated lead service provider. Now we're beginning to look through that process of what a service provider will do and who that potentially is. So we're looking at a number of organizations that could potentially serve that function for the Tri-Cities. And let's see, I know there's, just to bring your notice under year 2 objectives, there's a highlight there. The South Metro Community Foundation has been successful in raising $300,000 towards a new navigation center. So that's very positive. We'll be working again together with the county and the other municipalities as well as the public and private sector for looking at options for that NAV center and how we fund that. Again, that's more of a year 2 action item that we're looking at. So I don't anticipate having a NAV center necessarily up and running this year. We could kind of have the precursors of one getting there, but
And remind us what the navigation center.
so a navigation center just brings somebody who's experiencing homeless. It's a single point of contact.
Yeah.
Where then they can be directed out to all the different services that are out there depending on their needs.
No
So they
matter
can
what
come in and
building
meet.
they go into. then
Yeah,
they're directed
and
to
it
that.
can
Yeah.
be, so they meet with a single point of contact that then is connected to all of the network of service providers that are out there. So that is the idea behind a NAV
Right.
center, and it can be, fairly straightforward. It can have it could have potentially have emergency housing associated with it. It could have shelter associated. It can have, it can take a lot of different looks.
Right.
And so we're still in the very, very early stages of what this is ultimately going to look like.
right.
But I'm having those important discussions about where's the money going to come from and beginning those now.
Yeah.
Along the lines of the status report update, we are trying to get a homelessness coordinator position hired on. As council will remember, you approved an expense for that maybe a couple of meetings ago. And so we are in the process of trying to get that position still hired. The county is also in the process of, as you will recall, that position is going to be housed at the county. They are still working on trying to get their, what would they call it? The county program administrator hired. They had one hired for a little while, then they lost that person to another opportunity. Then we had another candidate that had been identified and an offer was made and that fell through. So they're kind of on round 3 at the moment. I'm trying to get the county program administrator position going. The decision was made kind of between the city managers and the county that we would not let that hold up the hiring of our coordinator position for the Tri-Cities group. So we hope to get that one, I believe, advertised this week.
So is it one position or 3 positions? So
Mm.
Inglewood's hiring one?
No,
Livonia-
it'll
just
be one position that will execute.
But we're all
the-
paying for that position.
Right, that'll execute basically the work plan
Yeah.
for that, and we all are paying in, right? You guys as a council approved a 3-year commitment as did the other ones as well. That was last month when we
Yes.
did that. So hopefully that position was getting advertised this week, I believe. And
Oh.
it had been held up a little because we thought we were going to have an administrative admin coordinator position at the county level, which will be overseeing this.
Right.
And that fell through. We said, okay, let's just keep moving through with it anyway. Let's see if there's anything else. The other good thing about, if you want to look kind of on the very back page, is a very generic, progress overview, kind of where are we percentage wise, just to kind of let you know how we've been moving along as a group through this process. And we do this, so we do these updates monthly, and I'll make sure we keep the council informed of those. Talked about status for a homeless coordinator position. Just a reminder, I think I mentioned this at the last council meeting, we're going to have a Sheridan forum on homelessness on April 20th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. here at City Hall. And we'll be getting additional information out on that shortly. So pencil that in, and more information will be coming along shortly. I attended the Arapahoe County Transportation Forum Technical Committee meeting today. You're welcome, because that's a lot of fun.
I bet it is. Well, I know it is. so.
Anyway, it is, it actually is, it's a very interesting process because this is how we pay for roads and everything else. So it is fairly interesting, if not drawn out. In the process right now, in the transportation improvement plan, we're in the process where we're doing projects that have a transit and multimodal aspect to them. So we actually have quite a bit of projects that could affect Sheridan that are going to be approved through this process.
But none of them are actually just ours, right?
Some of them, no, not just ours. We're paying for
Yeah.
them together as a
Group.
as a group, as a Arapahoe County transportation planning area. So that's how we fund our transportation improvements that are either as a multimodal or regional type of effort along those lines. So we are going to have projects that are part of recommendations of the Santa Fe PEL multimodal or PEL study. They're multimodal projects. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because we're going to do a work session either next time or the time after that on the projects themselves. But they're about $3.9 million in projects, I believe, Andrew, is the latest. Does that sound right? 3.9, the total. 9.8, sorry,
Yeah.
that's right. Ours was right. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's significant. Our portion is fluctuating and hopefully keeps getting lower as we move along. But we'll be looking at having to accommodate a local match in our budget. And we'll discuss that as well when it comes along time. You have a question, Dallas?
Where's CDOT? Where's their money?
Well, this is the money that comes in. So this is our local match and CDOT does the rest of the money.
Yeah.
So this is just the local
Oh.
match on that.
Once again,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah,
You
so,
know, originally the Pell was just to do a study
and it is.
and just a study. We
Right.
weren't going to go and do roads. We're just going to study.
So
And
the
all of a
P-
sudden now we got projects.
Well, no, the PEL was always going to recommend projects. That was always part of the process of doing a PEL.
I remember that as a study, but in just a study. Okay. But
So
anyway,
what it
all right.
did is
I
that it recommended kind of like some early phase projects, middle and later long-term type of potential projects out there. These are what you might call the low-hanging fruit type of projects that came out of that process, and CDOT wants to be able to move those projects forward. So we have an opportunity to get these done now in the TIP process and leveraging the funding that comes with that. We'd never be able to afford to do these ourselves.
Right.
Right. So, and the nice thing also is that it leverages the funding of the whole area. So we're breaking down, and we'll go into this in more detail when we talk
Right.
about that, but we break down and we share the costs across the jurisdictions on this. So that makes it possible for someone, you know, like Sheridan to be able to afford some of these as well.
The last TIP project we did took forever to
Yeah.
get those fundings here.
Yeah.
It was forever.
Yeah.
And
So it's changed a little bit on how that works now. So we already have allocations set aside at the state level for how much Arapahoe County is going to get. And it's just a matter now of the projects that we're recommending will go from the technical advisory committee, which I sit on. We voted on those today. And it's the Santa Fe PEL multimodal projects along with a project through Centennial down on Arapahoe Road. Those are going to be the two projects that come out of project recommendations that come out of this phase of the TIP. So there's 3 phases of the TIP. This is the early on one. It'll go forward to the executive committee, which is later this week, and the executive committee votes on that, whether to submit then the projects to the State Transportation Improvement Program for final approval for funding. And then that funding, if approved, would come next year in 2023 and 2025, I believe, is when the funding, at least for these specific types of projects, would take place. But it's already set aside, so it's there, and we'd be able to get it and expend it hopefully within that 2-year time frame.
Okay.
Yeah. So along those lines, we'll go into that in some more detail at either our next work session or the one after that.
Okay.
And then by that time, we'll know whether the executive committee has approved them to move on. I'm assuming that they will. I don't know any reason why they wouldn't at this point. Just to let you know, county areas are limited to 3 project submittals as part of this section of the TIP. We're only bringing 2 forward. So I don't know why we wouldn't have the support of the executive committee. We had the full support of the technical committee as well. Let's see, did that. Thank you again to the staff for SEPTED presentation. Good job, guys. Appreciate that. And I will be out of the office a little bit next week for spring break. Do something with the kiddos, and I don't know what yet. We're trying to figure that out. So I'll be out a little bit next week, probably towards the end of the next week. Other than that, be happy to answer any questions.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Back to the tips.
Mhm.
When the last tip that Dallas is talking about, was that when we, the roads? Was
No.
that?
No, we didn't
No.
get any.
Oh.
So,
Okay,
Right.
so then the last tip that you guys did was even before then, right?
it would have been a
Which
while. I'm not
would have
even sure what,
been-
Oxford?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
Mm.
then that would have been before Dr. Cog split and now
Yes.
has the regional transportation.
That was,
No,
yeah, that
it
was
was during that
before
time.
the,
Yeah, it's through
no, I
Dr.
know it
Cog.
was Dr. Cog, but it was not using the
Right.
transportation forums.
Right, it was,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
They
No,
didn't
it
have-
was-
they
80-20
didn't have the
split.
money.
Yeah, it just went straight to the committee and it got scored by Dr. Cog and
Yeah,
all those,
yeah.
right?
They
Now the
didn't have
money
the
gets
cash.
set aside by the transportation areas, so by county basically is the way they're broken up.
Mhm.
And then the counties decide their priority and score their own projects and decide how that money will be allocated. Whereas before, yeah, you had to go to before Dr. Cog
Yeah.
and you got it scored. And there
And it
was all
took
the
a lot
wheeling and
longer.
dealing at the
Yeah.
meetings.
Yeah.
Mhm. So that's what this new process does away with, is that scoring process where you have people scoring projects that they don't have the first clue about.
Right.
You know,
So
they got
the people
somebody,
that are
yeah, they
scoring
got
them
somebody in
are-
Greeley scoring a project down in, you know, on whatever, on County Line Road, they, you know, right, have no idea what's going on there.
Right.
So it does away with that and it brought the scoring more into a local level. And I should say the prioritization. So the state and what they do is they set the allocations out to each of the counties, and then the counties get to decide how they want to prioritize those projects.
Okay.
Yeah, so it kind of takes out the wheeling and dealing stuff that
And
used to
and
go
it should
on.
be a much faster.
And it
process.
is, because you already know how much money you're gonna get. It's
Right.
already allocated.
Right.
Yeah. So far it's worked pretty well. You know, we haven't had much in the way of Sheridan projects that have gone through it, and this will be some of the first ones that go through it. The last allocation, we didn't have anything. And again,
Yeah,
remember
we did
this.
the Santa Fe was, and the 285.
um,
Those were in the latest one, right?
Studies.
Yeah,
The
the
studies,
studies.
yes, the studies were.
And they
you're
were
correct.
allocated and it paid for and boom, done pretty quickly. A
Correct. So-
lot quicker than.
And
it
then,
used to happen.
yeah, and then we've had the recommendations that'll come out of our, if it, when it gets going, the Bear Creek, the US 285.
Yes.
Transportation study that will be going along there. That was part of one that got, so we had two studies that got approved through there. But we haven't had any construction projects or anything quite yet. This will be design and construction on 2 out of the 3, design on 1 of them.
Right.
So we'll go into that again. It'll bring it and we'll throw up the maps and talk numbers and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting. That's all I got.
Cool, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Chief?
Nothing to report.
Okay, well then. Moving on to the minutes. The minutes of the regular city council meeting of February 28, 2020. I will entertain a motion to approve minutes.
Like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the 28th.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Sang,
Yes.
Daigle,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Unanimous, Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you. Next, we have the consent agenda to authorize the disbursements that have been or will be made from February 15th, 2022 to February 28th, 2022 in the amount of $513,633.58 per the referenced and attached transfer of funds. I will entertain a motion. to approve the consent agenda
Or not approved.
or not.
I'll make a motion to approve this consent agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
I have discussion.
Oh, discussion, I'm sorry. Is there a discussion? Thank you.
Councilmember Stang,
Yes.
Daigle,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
unanimous, Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you. Next, we have public hearing. We do not have a public hearing, so we will move on to the items for individual consideration. We have no ordinances on second reading, but we do have an ordinance on the first reading. Ordinance number 1 of 2022. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sheridan rezoning certain property located at 4095 South Federal Boulevard to the PUD zone district and approving the associated PUD official development plan and setting a public hearing for March 28th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1 of 2022.
I'll second it.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
beat him-
Karen.
I beat him to the punch. Yep.
Councilmember Daigle,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitaker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Stang,
Yes.
unanimous, Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you. Next, we have resolution number 7 of 2022, which is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, approving a temporary access agreement between the City of Sheridan and Sheridan Sanitation District Number 1.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 7, 2022.
I'll second.
Roll call? Oh, discussion. Is there a discussion? Sorry,
Got to leave that open for in case somebody wants to.
in case anybody wants to. Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Councilmember Whitaker,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Stang,
Yes.
Daigle,
Yes.
unanimous, Madam Pro Tem.
Next, we have resolution number 8, 2022. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Sheridan appointing Kristen Britt Fuchs to the Planning and Zoning Commission and establishing her term of office.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 8 of 2022.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes. I will be voting no on this resolution. I feel that it's a bad fit. As a business person in the city, being a landlord, I think as a planning commission, that could bring some big problems in that area. So with that, I will be voting no.
Any further discussion? You want to elaborate?
When have a property like that and you're a landlord,
Mhm.
things could come up before the planning commission
Mhm.
that affect being a landlord. And I think that would bring up a problem at time or two. And I just feel that won't work. I just don't think it's going to work. Okay.
So would this be, you need like a point of order? So planning commission, do they recuse themselves from votes like that?
If they have a conflict of interest, they would have to recuse themselves.
They can't. Yes. If. But it's the key is, do they? And I don't think it was ever planned that somebody being on the planning commission would be a landlord. So
Interesting.
as far as a business, representing a business.
And I have another question. I don't know if you would know that, because I don't know all of the people on planning committee. I mean, I don't know what their businesses are or what they do. Do we have any other? So that would be a point of order as well. Right?
This is just a discussion of the appointment of this particular person, not of the composition of the planning. Commission.
Okay. Thank you. Interesting. Any other discussion?
I kind of agree with Dallas. I mean, it kind of brings up a point of, you got somebody that has properties, planning and zoning does a lot of that with properties. So there might be a lot of opportunities where this person ends up having to abstain from whatever. And so it could be working in that person's favor. And I think that's what you got to kind of look at.
Oh, right.
You know, and it's just one of those things that, where do you go with it? You know, I guess I said, I could see a lot of opportunities, or not opportunities, but a lot of people having to abstain from it. You could end up with a planning board meeting where you would need that particular vote, and that person has to abstain. I mean, it may not work out.
Oh, thank you. Because now I need
All right.
clarification.
Yeah, so tonight in your packet, you received Britt's application for planning commission. So I just want to clarify. So it's a business alternate position. So this means it's a non-voting position unless they don't have a quorum. So we have kind of the core group that are voting members right now, and this would be an alternate position. So in this position, and it's been vacant for a while now, this individual, whether it's Britt or someone else, can participate in all of kind of the study sessions and the discussions that we have, but the voting would only occur if we didn't have a quorum at a public hearing that they hold. So it's not typically a voting position. And also, I don't know if we can have Britt speak tonight. I think she is on the line. And just kind of clarify like her status in the city right now, because she also applied as a resident. So she is a resident and a registered elector at that address, meaning, you know, she votes from that address.
I'll call for the vote.
Right.
Councilmember Smith,
No.
Councilmember Kelly,
No.
Councilmember Hall,
No.
Councilmember Stang,
No.
Councilmember Daigle,
No.
Councilmember Whitaker.
No.
That's unanimous, Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you. Sorry, Brett. Next, we have Mayor's choice. She's not here. So it would be Mayor Pro Tem's choice. And I don't, oh, I do. Remember in April, the 27th is the Dr. Cog award ceremony dinner. They're actually apparently hopefully going to have. So if anybody would like to go, I get to take a sick guest. And
I almost forgot. I'm sorry, go ahead. When you're done, I have something
would
that
you-
just reminded me.
would, Jenna, would you please make sure that my alternate has been seated at Dr. Cog? Because I don't believe that they have. That, because on my last packet, he wasn't listed for Terrence.
Because Terrence is the alternate,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes. And then because he needs to get his,
Yeah, it should be included
Book.
on the mailings and all of that kind of stuff. Okay.
yeah, and then they'll mail him a book.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Can I say something?
You may. Absolutely. I was waiting. I'm sorry.
And I meant to do this during the update on the homelessness, the Tri-Cities Homelessness Policy Committee won the Dr. Cog Innovation Award.
Yes, they did.
Yep, it's big stuff.
Are you
Yep.
going?
I don't know. We're still trying to figure out. I think they're gonna try and get a table.
We
Because there's so
could
many
get a
people,
table.
right?
We could get a table
Yeah.
as a city even.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people. So we're trying to figure out what that all looks like right now. But that's real nice, you know, for that recognition. The Dr. Cog Innovation Awards are well regarded. And the folks, you know, everybody should be proud of it. We should be proud of the city as a city to be part of that effort. So that's going to be some nice recognition. And it's nice that they're kind of do them again. Those
Well,
COVID kind of put those things on
because
back
the
burner
year
for a
that we
while.
won for the road.
Yeah,
And Randy was supposed to go up there and get the award and what have you, was canceled because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a
That was
shame.
a
And
bummer.
that got canceled 2 years in a row, remember?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's nice. Hopefully. this
So I
won't get
think that you
canceled.
should send Randy anyway. Right? Just because swanky dinner, whatever. He could take a date. And then I don't have to sit by myself. Well, actually, I usually sit with Kevin Flynn and his wife. So. But yeah,
So I'll let council know what that's gonna look like. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
sure
the-
how many seats we're gonna have, how many people can go from each city, that kind of thing. I'll let you know though.
yeah, very cool. Thanks. Council members' choice. Anybody? Come on, I know you got it.
Coffee with the council is Saturday the 19th.
Good job.
Very good.
Good job. The mayor pro tem forgot about that.
Mayor Pro Tem doesn't ever get to go because I don't have anyone to come and sit with my mom
Oh,
on
okay.
Saturday.
That's understandable. I've got something to add to
Go ahead.
our presentation this evening. I don't know if they still do it, but the city of Loveland years ago used to pay the residential people to keep their porch lights on.
Oh, right.
Because if
Yes,
you
they
kept
did.
your porch light on, that meant that crime went down quite a bit.
Mhm.
And it was both front and back porch lights. I don't know if they still do that or not, but the city would actually pay for it because it kept crime down quite a bit.
Mhm.
And you talk about lighting, about a year and a half ago, I got the Ring system. And I'll tell you what, that system works.
Mhm.
What about 6 months ago, our neighbor told us about somebody who drove by the house and got out and took pictures of our house. So I got on real quick and found out about what time, and I kind of figured out who it was, but we never did figure it out. But this person was literally taking pictures of the house.
Hmm.
And so it's one of those
At
things.
night.
It was probably 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening.
Weird.
Yeah. And, but yeah, it's a system. Wherever you go, you can check on your house. I'm getting ready to put one on the side of the house. And yeah, it's one of those things that work, and it has LED lights, and it only goes out to the edge of my lot.
Mhm.
So they really work. They light up my entire driveway from where my truck and my car sits. 'Cause before I did that, I had somebody get into the van twice.
Oh, well.
And so as soon as you come up to the van or the truck, the light comes on. So people have a tendency not to do that. But and it's a very inexpensive mode of security.
So we could do it as a project or something. Maybe Sheridan Celebrates could, incorporate that into something that they do.
Yeah, it's a,
Informational kind of thing. Keep your porch lights on or whatever.
yeah, it's just one of those things that works,
Good idea. Anybody else? Terrence, I know you got something. Come on.
No, I don't have anything. Nothing.
Okay, I guess that's it. Any further public comments? Then I guess we can call this meeting adjourned at 7:40 PM. Thank you.
Thank you.